Hi folks, Kevin here again. So I'm back in Teijo National Park once more. This is the first time for 2025 and it's also my first camp for 2025. As you can see, there is no snow currently, which is unusual for February in Finland, even in southern Finland. And previously I've come down this road and it's been just a sheet of ice. There is nothing on the road currently. So climate change, maybe. Today I am going to be going for a hike around a lake called Matildanjärvi or Matilda's Lake. I've done this route before several times. And today I'm going to try my Durston Xmid 2-person tent for the very first time, so I'm quite excited about that. So here's our first view of the lake. Seems the ice is quite thick and frozen. I see people walking on the ice. It wouldn't surprise me if there's also people doing some ice fishing. I'm not sure if I want to risk walking on the ice, not least because I didn't take my mini spikes with me and my shoes don't have a very good grip. So I think I'll content myself just to staying on the shore. These ice falls are always quite impressive. Groundwater and or melting snow melts and flows down the bedrock and then it freezes as it falls. This ice currently is, I'd say, maybe 5 centimeters thick, maybe a little bit more, and I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up, but there is actually water currently flowing underneath the ice. I can see it dripping down. Okay, so that's going to put a different spin on my plans to go to where I plan to put the tent. I'll have to take an alternative route. Not to worry. I'm pretty sure I can figure out something and find a suitable place. Most of Matildanjärvi is fed by streams and drains, and at the edges of the lake there's this marshy sort of swampy area, and over time it's basically becoming dried out, I suppose, so the lake is itself potentially just getting smaller and smaller over time. Over in that direction is another lake called Allweather, and I guess at one stage both lakes would have completely joined and it would have been just one lake. Now it's two lakes separated by a drain or by an inlet, long inlet channel. I was a bit worried about whether I would be warm enough, and as it turns out I have enough clothes on while I'm moving at least. I don't feel the cold so much, although there's a bit of a breeze blowing. It's currently about -2 Celsius, so it's not super cold compared to previous years. Where I'm walking now currently on these duck boards, I'm sure you can see it behind me. The last time I was here, which is probably almost a year ago, 11 months ago, in March last year, the snow was right up to the duck boards and actually covering them. So to keep my feet warm today, I have some midweight darn tough socks, which I found to be absolutely brilliant, and also I'm wearing my Altra, what are they? Altra Allweather mid GTX boots. I was a bit worried that they would be too thin for these conditions, but now that I'm moving, my feet are actually quite toasty. Now we've left Matildanjärvi Lake. This is the channel, or oja, which translates to ditch or channel, drain in Finnish, between Matildanjärvi Lake, which is now behind us, and just over in the distance the start of Allweather Lake. The water itself is very humic, which means that it's has sort of dark brown in colour. Both lakes are also very shallow. They're not more than 5 meters at the most. They're full of vegetation, and as a result, of course, they're also full of fish. So there's our campsite for this evening. A small little island just in the middle of the lake. Luckily with the ice I can actually walk out there.
1 hour later.
I managed to get my tent set up, and yeah, it was fairly straightforward, at least the outer part. The inner part was a little bit more of a faff. I still can't figure out what to do with the actual door flap because it just seems to hang down. Doesn't seem to be a way to roll it up like you can on the outside fly, which is a bit of a pain right now. I had a cup of tea and a few biscuits, so I'm just going to chill out now for a while and just enjoy the peace. I have some down booties on. I put some dry socks on as well, so they're not sweaty. My feet are a lot warmer already. And I got some of these puffy pants, like they're synthetic fill, but they go quite nicely with my puffer jacket. And yeah, I feel relatively comfortable right now. I have some hand warmers also, just these disposable ones in my pockets, so they're helping to keep me warm. This orange monstrosity here beside me is my Thermarest Polar Ranger. I'm not taking any chances tonight on being cold. It has a comfort rating of -20 degrees Celsius, so I should be more than warm enough. Another new acquisition is a sitpad of sorts. It's a sitpad with added straps on, which basically means that you can sit and then you can also lean back. One of the things I don't like so much about sleeping in a tent or hang out in a tent is that I don't sit very comfortably just without a chair or on the floor. My posture is terrible, so yeah, I don't find it very comfortable. So I just spent the last 20 minutes jumping around like an idiot, taking light paintings and things. But it turns out it was just the right thing to do because I was feeling cold beforehand. And yeah, a bit of exercise warmed me up nicely. My feet are nice and warm again now. I think I'm going to settle down now and try and get some sleep. Let's see what kind of sleep I get in my new Durston. I'll see you in the morning. Good night. Good morning, folks. Well, that was an interesting night. At least I was warm. That was good, but I didn't sleep very well. The Thermarest mat, although it keeps me warm, is quite hard, and I got quite bad shoulder squeeze on my left side, so that kept waking me up a bit. And I was otherwise quite comfortable in terms of being warm, certainly. In fact, I was so warm at some stage that I had to take a couple of layers off, which is a nice thing. And I pretty much just slept in my thermals and socks. It was quite nice outside right now. You can see the lake in the distance and the ice. It's been pretty quiet. There's some woodpeckers up in the trees that have been tapping away for the last couple of hours. I eventually figured out how to roll up the inner fly and keep it so that it's out of the way. I didn't realize that the inner could be rolled up with a similar magnet system as you have for the outer fly. I was looking at it, and I was looking at YouTube videos trying to figure out, like, oh, what the hell, am I missing a piece, or is there something defective with my tent? And then I realized when I actually pulled it, the two magnets separated from each other. I was just like, ah. So I was starting to worry, like, you know, oh damn, am I going to have to make modifications to my tent already? But no, it works like it's supposed to. It doesn't get any better than this. Lying in a lovely warm sleeping bag, nice cup of coffee, and some biscuits to dip it into. Lovely. So my Durston Xmid 2-person with a solid inner has this nice dark green colour, not so much like the lighter green sage colour from the other models, which I actually quite like. It's a little bit more stealth maybe. For a first pitch, it seemed to go quite well, relatively easy. I had to readjust the corner tie-outs a couple of times to get it exactly right. As you see, there's a bit of a gap between the edge of the outer fly and the ground. Same here at the back, but over there in the corner you can see where it goes down to the ground. I couldn't get the corner peg in any better than currently, so there's a bit of a curve on the side of the tent. So I used the other guy out ropes to help pull out the pull out the outer fly and hopefully keep it away from the inner fly. Overall, yes, it was relatively easy to set up, and I'm very pleased with, certainly with the space inside. I will say it is quite important that you get a good flat pitch for this so that you could actually spread it out properly, and so also that the edges of the fly can come down to the ground if that's what you want. I tried to use the Durston's own tent pegs to peg out the tent. Currently the ground in here in the woods has like a thick ice crust and it's soft underneath, so it resists and then basically goes in. However, I found that these much thinner titanium spikes actually worked a lot better, and also for the other top guys, I have these Hilleberg Y-shaped pegs, and they actually work quite well as well. I'll give you a better look at my homemade bivy bag. As you can see, this top part is made from Tyvek, and the underside is made from an emergency blanket, which I mistakenly put the outside towards the inside of the bag, and there's a reflective side which unfortunately is now on the base of the bag itself. I taped these with double-sided carpet tape, and it makes quite nice seams on the side. It will look quite neat. I also use some black Gorilla tape on each side to reinforce where I put the very simple door, which is just a flap that allows me to actually basically get in. Tyvek should be breathable, which should allow actual moisture out, and then the underside is made from nylon. This should be some way waterproof as well. So I wouldn't necessarily try to use this in a rainstorm with no other cover. I definitely use it with a tarp at a minimum, but yeah, it is primarily for, I thought, for camping inside a tent and or inside a tarp, where the condensation from the fly will cause the sleeping bag to get wet. And while if it adds a few degrees of warmth to my sleep system, that's not a bad thing either, I guess. So for the best part of about €40, I got a bivy bag. More use will basically confirm whether or not it was actually worth the money and the effort of making it. So I took a layer off when I left the camp, and I was feeling quite cold, especially my hands are numb. But yeah, 10 minutes later, a good brisk pace, and yeah, I'm warm again. My hands are nice and warm. Yeah, I was just thinking on the way here that while it's nice to do a circular trail and that everything you see is new, it's also very nice to do an out and back, because then you see things that you missed the first time. So I was a bit concerned about whether or not I would come out this weekend, because, well, the weather hasn't been so nice, and the forecast was for pretty much grey weather and no sun. But yeah, I mean, look at the landscape, isn't it fantastic? Even on a grey overcast day, it's just something else. It's yeah, absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I suppose it goes to the old saying that it's worth getting off your ass and getting out there. It's definitely rewarding. Okay, so on the last leg of the journey, and I think I'll say goodbye here. Thanks very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the adventure as much as I did, and yeah, I hope to catch you on the next trail.